guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do another book haul for October. This is part 2. This is more library sales. So as I said in my first book haul this month, that was the big one, the Multnomah County library sale. So of course I did the most damage at that library sale, spent the most, got the most books. Then the county that I live in, which is Washington County, there are individual library book sales. So at each location, each branch has their own sale at a different time. So the first section I'll show you is the stuff I got from the Beaverton City Library. I went there, when was it? Like 2 weeks ago, like a week, yeah. Well, it was a Thursday. I went after work and I did a little damage. And then this last Thursday, the Aloha public library, they had theirs, so I did theirs. So I'm not done though. So there will be a part 3 for October on book hauls. This is pretty pathetic, except that I have another library book sale at the end of the month in Hillsboro, which I don't usually buy a whole lot at because it's probably the most expensive of the book sales. But and then I will also probably include, so on that part 3, I'll have that last book sale, and then I'll have the books that I've bought online and at other bookstores after that. So this will be a 3-part month. And then I might be going on a book ban, so we will see. Anyway, so let's start. So at the Beaverton City Library, I picked up, oh, did I say 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 12 books. And I think I didn't spend, oh, for $14. Because everything was $1 that I picked up. I went to the $1 section, was a gold mine. And then I picked up one book that was $3. So I'll show that one first. So I picked up another one for my presidential read. Not that I'm making much progress except in collecting books. And so I got Truman by David McCullough. So again, I have his book on John Adams that I'm hoping to read in the next couple months. If I don't read in November, we'll see how it goes. But Truman is one of the ones I was looking for that he has written. And again, I have read several books by David McCullough, and he's one I am collecting some of his books to read. And Truman is one of the ones I don't have. I don't have as many from the 20th century. So I have mostly older presidents to read first, but it was $3 and I just thought, and it was a great copy. And so I just picked it up. Then I picked up 3 books that were in the fiction section. Well, I mean, again, this was a mystery, but it was in the fiction section. And that is A Conspiracy in Belgravia by Sherry Thomas. Now, I have the first book in this series, A Study of Scarlet Women, to read. It's been on my to read since earlier this year. So I'm hoping that I like it because I picked up book number 2. And again, it's a Victorian mystery, I think. So it's kind of like Sherlock Holmes, gender changed, I guess. I'm not sure. I haven't read it yet. I hear they're really good, though. So it was $1. I just picked it up because I also picked up Motherless Brooklyn by Jonathan Lehame. I've heard about this book, but I've never picked it up all over the years. And it's one of those ones I just wanted to, and I know they're just making a movie on it, or it's coming out or something. And I don't know a whole lot about it except that the guy, the main guy is like an orphan, but he kind of works for a mobster. Other than that, I don't know. I know I read up on it when I saw that they were making a movie. Not that that makes me want to pick up books, usually. But there was something about it that made me go, oh, that kind of sounds interesting. I didn't know that was what it was about. I still don't know. But it has to do with Home for Boys and that. So I don't know. If you guys have read this, let me know. Again, $1. And it was a good copy. I figured I'd try it. And then this is a book that I owned many, many years ago. And it was a book I tried once. And I just was not in the mood for it at the time. And so I must have got rid of it in one of my purges, either when I moved several times, moved out of state, moved back, blah, 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 you know. But I lost it along the way. So I'm pretty sure I sold it, but you know, I just don't remember. But I have been trying to find this online and I couldn't find it. And I was stoked when I found it for $1 at this sale. And I really do want to try this in the next year to try it again. Because I just think it was just a madcap mystery. And that is Like a Hole in the Head by Jen, is it Banbury? Let me see that. Anyway, so Simon works in a bookstore, and she works there part-time for her friend and stuff, and she sells this book, or she buys a book from somebody that's really like a very antique, and I can't remember. I keep thinking it was a Dickens, but now I'm not positive. And it was something like, it was a certain edition that was worth a lot of money, and she buys it from somebody, and then this and then people start showing up and they want the book back, but she sold it already to somebody else for a deal. I don't know what happened. And then this is the matter of everybody trying to get this book back, and she's kind of stuck in the middle and dragged along. And it was funny with the first couple chapters that I read, and I just don't remember why I put it down. Anyway, wow, I am rambling here a lot. Sorry, guys. Okay, so then I'm going to talk these. So then I got 8 books that I got at the sale were in this. They had this little section, and it was for $1. So I just went through them and picked out. And I was so mad because I found a couple books that I'd already bought for more money that were in these editions. And so, but these are really cool. So I got a lot of these Farrago Classics editions. Again, they were all $1, and this is great. So I got a couple, Miss Margaret Oliphant. I read The Rector 2 years ago, October. And so I've always wanted to get back to that series, reread that and go on. So this is part of those Chronicles of Carlingford. And so I would really like to do that. I got one book that the Salem Chapel, and the Perpetual Curate. Again, really, some of these are really nice copies. Not all of them are great, but they were $1. I also got Hester by Margaret Oliphant, and I've heard really good things about this one. I don't know anything about this one. I mean, these ones were like country curate, kind of, you know, churchy things. I don't know. Little small towns. And then these ones, I don't remember. I just know I've seen people who are reading Hester. And then I got a couple other ones that are Victorian. I got The Three Miss Kings by Ada Cambridge. I just looked at what date it came out and I just bought it. It was 1891. And I think this has to do with 3 sisters in Australia. So, you know, a little different. Sounded cool. Anyway, I don't know. I also got Miss Humphrey Ward's Marcella. I've seen this on somebody. So Mary Augustus Ward is her name. Anyway, so, and this came out, I think this was in the 1890s. I don't remember what this one's about either. But again, it just looks cool. This is $1. And then I found another Charlotte M. Young, The Clever Woman of the Family. Again, I just got last month The Heir of Redcliffe, which I haven't read yet, but I'm like $1. I mean, so I picked up another one of this, and so this has to do with daughter of a squire considers herself the clever woman of the family, and I think something that she decides not to marry and decides to do something else with her life. So it sounds interesting. Anyway, I'm kind of curious to read that. And then I got 2 more early 20th century. I got 2 Vita Sackwell West books. Never heard of. This is Family History, and the other is No Signpost in the Sea. I do have, what was her other book that, All Passion Spent is on. I was supposed to read that in September. I was hoping to for Gone with the Book, but I did not. So I do want to try her. I think this might be hit and miss, but again, they were $1. So those are all the books I got at the first library sale in Beaverton. And then in Aloha, I got 6 more books, also all $1. So I didn't spend a lot of money. I just accumulated a lot of books. So the first thing I found was The Children of Húrin. I don't know how you say that, by JRR Tolkien. I have not read the companion stuff till Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. But I do have the Silmarillion to read still. But these have come out in the last few years, and I just wanted to collect them as I found them. So I found one of them. So, as I said, someday I'll read them. So just on all that stuff. I also found Perfume, a story of a murderer by Patrick Sokin, I think is how I said. And all I remember about this was that this guy has this incredible sense of smell. So he apprentices himself to be, you know, to be a perfumer, and then he catches a smell that he's trying to capture, and he's obsessed until he figures out the source, and then he goes after the woman, I guess. We'll see. Anyway, I've heard a lot of good things about this. I think this was translated from the German. From the German by John E. Woods. So anyway, I don't actually know a whole lot about it, but I've just heard about it. Like, that's one of those things where you just see books that you're like, oh, people talked about that. I also got White Chrysanthemum by Mary Lynn Bratt. I don't know how you say that last name. Anyway, it just came out wrong like I said it, and then I was... so this one, I was going to buy when it first came out, and I just put it off. So this is a good buy. So this has to do with Korea during, I believe it's World War II, and some girls are out, I think they're out diving for stuff, and then one sister sacrifices herself for the other one when the Japanese one day a soldier comes and takes her away, and then it's kind of like their lives are split. So it's a two timeline thing of 1943 and 2011. So I don't know. I've heard really good things about it, that it's kind of sad and stuff, but again, I was going to buy that new months ago and I didn't do it, and I just... yeah. I also picked up All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. This is one of those thriller-ish books that I keep seeing that I keep thinking, well, if I want to try one, this would be kind of one of the ones that I would like. This is one of those ones where something happens, and then 10 years later she comes back to town, I think her best friend goes missing. And then 10 years she comes back to town, I think, to take care of her dad, who's sick. And there's then all the secrets kind of come out 10 years later. So I don't know, I've heard good things about this one, but it's still, I just thought I'd give it a shot. It's one of those, I don't read a lot of thrillers much anymore, but every once in a while I'll just kind of go, well, that sounds interesting. And it was a book. And then I found The Clockmakers Totter by Kate Morton. I told myself I was not going to be buying any of these books until I read her. And I think now I have all of her books but one. So I will be probably next year at least reading one or two of them just to see if I like them. But this is her newest one, and I actually hadn't seen this copy, you know, this cover. So I don't know. I was kind of surprised to find it there. And again, I said it's the newest. It's one of those dual timeline ones. I think. Oh wait. Well, I know this one has to do 1862. That they go to this manor for I think like a retreat or something, and then somebody steals something or other. Oh, and then more than a century later, somebody finds something. Anyway, I'm not gonna. As I said, I need to read the other books first. If you have a suggestion where to start with her, let me know. I know this is not one of her most ones that everybody likes the most, but as I said, I have all of them but one. I'm sure I probably have that one. And then I found a Persephone book, which was awesome. This is not one that I don't think I've heard about. It's called Good Evening, Mrs. Craven, The Wartime Stories of Molly Panther Downs. So she wrote, during World War II, I believe, wrote stories that just talks about people, women and children, family. Her best short stories, let's see, hold on. They're brief, dramatic, and comedic testimonies to the ordinary English woman who did not fight in the war, but lived through it as acutely as any soldier. So it's like the female perspective of war, I guess, from at home. So anyway, it sounded really interesting. Again, I first thought it was nonfiction, but I'm pretty sure now that they're short stories that she wrote about that time period, during that time period. So, and I think they were put in the New Yorker. So it sounds interesting. Anyway, if anybody's read those, let me know. So those are all the books that I got in those 2 library book sales. Yeah, and I have one more to go. And I have books that I bought elsewhere. Yes, this month is probably my highest number of books that I bought in 1 month. So... book ban is in my future. Anyway, so if you guys read any of these books, any of these you think that I should pick up sooner rather than later, let me know, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.